How did I miss that? Her display rack shows 4 available spots, which now inhabit 2 really neat-looking knives, all of them looking like pocket knives. I can't help but look at how enticing they are. After a while, my attention is averted to Yuri as she sits down and places everything on the floor. I didn't know you had all those. That's so cool. Yuri doesn't say anything about that. Instead, she nervously smiles.
This will be used to cut the ribbons to length. Would you rather use a pair of scissors?
Nah, I'd be willing to try something new. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever held a pocket knife before. Dad never let me touch any of this when him and Mom were around. May I see one? She hesitates a bit before speaking.
Okay, but please be careful.
Taking a hold of the knife with her right index finger over the flipper, she pushes downwards, which results in the blade projecting upwards at lightning speed. Using her 4 fingers as a resting place, she carefully hands the knife over to me. Looks like she knows what she's doing. Whoa, how did you do that?
Oh, I can show you how that's done.
With her thumb on the inside lock and her index finger over the false edge, she manages to bring the blade back inside. Taking a hold of the knife shows it's no ordinary one. It's black with a purple outline, a purple dragon etched on both sides, and it's the size of my middle finger. She takes my right hand and shows me how to properly hold it for opening, which felt kind of nice.
Try pushing downwards now.
Doing as she says, it brings the blade up to life with a unique clicking sound. There's this weird feeling of power behind it. I can't help but stare at it. The blade itself is nothing special, just plain black with the words Dragon Strike printed on it. Taking a glance over to Yuri shows her intently looking me down, holding one of her knives. I end up quickly looking away, as I'm not too sure how to feel about that. Carefully placing the knife on the ground, blade facing away from me, I reach over to grab some ribbon and some paper. I think it's about time. What do you plan on doing? She seems to snap back into reality and compose herself.
I'm going to attach some ribbons to the bottom of our banner paper.
Oh, almost like flair, right? She nods.
Yes, something like that.
Neat. I'll get started with my project. With that, Yuri grabs her own knife and ribbons, and we begin our respective jobs with only silence that fills her room. Minutes pass and I'm on the third to last piece of paper. I've got to admit, using a knife for this job instead of scissors is definitely different, but it's a nice challenge, both trying to get the job done properly, all while trying to be careful. It's made me do some critical thinking, which I enjoy. Oftentimes, I would hear Yuri humming to herself. It honestly didn't really bother me too much. I'm certain we all have things like that we do to keep ourselves sane. I know I sometimes hitch my hands around or bob my head up and down while I'm walking. I think it's some weird sense in me that's telling myself to do something or keep moving. Putting that aside, I've been so focused on what I was doing that I haven't really seen what Yuri's up to. Hey Yuri!
Yes, Hallie?
Looking over to what she's doing, I become distracted by the knife she's using. Its handle features a faux wooden paneling, and the blade shines a bright gold. I'm also seeing about 30 or so pieces of ribbon taped to the paper. That only partially answers my question. How's everything going on your end? It looks like reality smacked her in the face after asking her that, as she's looking around herself, inspecting her own work.
Oh, I'm almost finished with taping the ribbons to the paper.
I probably didn't need to ask her, but hearing her confirm that is nice. Neat!
And yourself?
I also looked down at what I've done. Just 2 more to go, then I'll be all done with this. Her smile returns.
That's great. Did you want to take a break once you and I finish up?
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Well, now that I think about it, we did get quite a bit done. I'm not opposed to the idea. Yeah, that doesn't sound bad. Besides, this shouldn't take long at all.
Very well then.
About a minute or so after getting back to this passes. What? About a minute or so after getting back to this passes. And something I thought of earlier makes its way in my head. Something I feel like I should ask Gary. I've only got 1 more to go, and I can work and talk at the same time. Oh, another thing.
What's that?
I can feel the nervousness already. I can't believe I'm asking her this. I hope it's not too much to ask, but I haven't heard you play in a while.
Play?
After drawing the letter E on both sides of the paper and quickly taping it to a ribbon, I get up from the floor and grab her harp from her closet to present to her. It's not as heavy as I thought it would be. Yeah. Yeah, takes her harp from me. If that's alright with you. She seems to be lost in thought yet again. Yuri's the kind of person who, from what I've seen, likes to think before she speaks when given the chance. Yeah, I can relate to that. It really seems like the golden rule that I allow that to happen. Plus, I'd kind of really like to hear her play again.
Well, I suppose it won't hurt anything. You're right, though. It has been a while. Maybe something short?
I can't help but smile as my nervousness inside is replaced by excitement. Anything is fine, really. Thanks, Yuri. Smiling once again, she starts getting ready to play while I walk over to her bed, and make myself comfortable. It's a lot more comfy than I thought it would be. I hope she won't mind. For once, everything feels okay. My mind isn't racing. I'm in the room of the girl I like most, spending time with her. I don't think I could have asked for anything better. Laying down on her bed now, the comfiness, the relaxing feeling from tea, and how wonderful she sounds is taking its effect, all hitting me at once. Maybe I'll close my eyes. For a bit. It's break time, after all, right? I can feel myself slowly dozing off just by silent yawn. Tomorrow's gonna be the best festival. She strummed him to sleep. How nice. Huh? What? Everything feels weird. What time is it? Where am I? This doesn't look like my room. Getting up and looking around shows... Who put this blanket on me? Oh yeah, Yuri's room. How long did I sleep for? Where'd Yuri go? Looking around shows no signs of her. My project and hers are left untouched, but no, they are finished. I don't know why I thought so unfinished. This is starting to make me feel uneasy. Her closet's still a mess. Her knife display is untouched. The one I used is still laying on the floor, but hers is... Where did it go? I don't see it anywhere. My curiosity getting the better of me, I push the blanket aside, get up from her bed, and quietly leave her room. I have a feeling we're about to discover something. My nervousness increases with every step as I tiptoe down her stairs. As I'm getting closer to the living room, I hear something coming from downstairs. It's a consistent sound, like water coming out of a faucet or something. That must mean someone's here. Silently approaching her living room, I'm able to pinpoint the sound I just heard. It is the water running. Hearing that clears up some things, but what could she possibly be doing? Why'd she take her knife with her? Peeking into the kitchen shows her cleaning up her knife from earlier. My voice quivers a bit while trying to get her attention. Yuri? She turns off the water, grabs a paper towel, and looks over to me.
Oh, hello, Hallie. I didn't expect you to wake up so soon.
Maybe I shouldn't be stretching right in front of her, but she's probably drying off her knife or something. Don't worry about it too much. What's going on? She walks over to a table with the tea tray from earlier. On it is a grilled cheese sandwich cut perfectly in half, 2 glasses of ice water, and her pocket knife from earlier now retracted. My eyes are glued to everything as she sets the tray down.
I thought I would make a little something for us, much like when we were at school. I was originally going to bring it up to my room for us.
That explains everything. Dude, she made one of my favorites. Oh, you didn't have to do this. I take a seat facing towards her and smile warmly at her. Thanks again.
It's no problem.
Nice fake out, by the way. Me and her happily enjoy our break time in silence, biting into our sandwiches at the same time. There's a familiar kick packed away in there. In here, that I know all too well. Pepper Jack. This girl used my most favorite cheese for this. She's a keeper. The comfortable silence doesn't last for long, however, as Yuri speaks up once again.
Hey, Hallie?
What is it? She looks apprehensive for whatever reason as she sets her sandwich down.
You don't think it's weird that I keep knives around, do you?
Oh, that's why. No, I don't think it's weird. It's definitely unique, but they can be really handy to have around, like to open letters or to cut tags off of stuff. And you could sharpen pencils with them, or you could pull Legos apart with them. God only knows I could have used that as a kid. Kids should not be using knives to separate Legos. I'm just going to put that out there. My bad, I didn't mean to ramble. I think her worried look was going away while I was talking.
I'm glad you think that. I became interested in them a few months ago. There's just something so fascinating about them.
She then picks her sandwich back up. Understandably so. They can be pretty practical to keep on you at all times. I didn't know how cool they can be as well. I don't know why, but now I'm starting to wonder if she keeps one in her bag. Thank you for not judging me about this. I wouldn't be very good to you if I were to do so. Well, that was a thing I just said out loud. She quietly giggles to herself and sets her elbow on the table, props her head on her hand, and looks in my general direction.
Oh, you're too kind.
All I can do is smile and nod at her, and maybe blush a little bit. It doesn't take long for sandwich time to be over, which makes me go, "Aw man, break time's over," in my head. I keep my eyes directed on hers. So, what's gonna happen next? Yuri grabs a hold of the tray and brings it towards her.
All we have left to do is to write a quote on the banner.
Okay. What did you have in mind? She gives me her always cute smile.
Oh, you'll see.
Heh, I can't wait to see what she has in store. In mind? One of those two. Maybe both. She then gets up and walks towards her kitchen to take care of everything. Once she's done, she looks over to me again.
Hallie, could you please grab the paint and brushes?
I happily nod at her. Sure thing. Doing as she says by grabbing my stuff, she catches up to me, this time without the tray, but with her knife in hand. Once we're back in her room, she picks up the knife I used and places both of them on her display rack. Afterwards, I hand her one capsule of black paint and one brush, and we both take a seat. It is then that I realize that I have nothing to do, as Yuri said she'd be painting something on there. Come on, there's gotta be something I can do. As I'm sitting and thinking, I'm also observing Yuri painting. Just by looking at the first few letters, I'm noticing that this looks very similar to her handwriting when we were sharing poems. It's a little more fancier than usual. You never need more and then an ER word right after it. It's a little fancier than usual is fine. Fancy. Hey, that just might work. Oh, I know what I can do.
What did you have in mind?
She appears to still be focused on painting, but her tone of voice doesn't change at all. Well, you know how on those gold frames the paintings go in? They have a really fancy design etched into them? Ooh, what if I were to try to paint something similar on the four corners of our banner? She stops painting once again and thinks to herself for a little while.
Sure, I don't see why not. Just nothing too gaudy, okay?
Deal! I nod at her and she returns to whatever she was doing. Walking over to the side opposite of her, I prepare my paintbrush and paint and start working on one of the corners. And there we go, that's half of it done already. The paper definitely has a different feel to it, which took a little getting used to, but overall wasn't too bad. Keeping what Yuri said in mind, I decided to keep it simple and draw 2 diagonal lines and some stars on each corner. Trying to draw stars with a paintbrush is harder than I thought it would be, but I ended up getting it down eventually. Phew! Alright, halfway done. Yuri speaks up as I grab my stuff or walk over to the other side and continue the task at hand.
Oh, Hallie, you say that like you're glad it's almost over. Was it wrong to assume that you were at least...
Ah! Time stops. The feeling of black paint all over my hand and her floor paralyzes me and sends shivers down my body. There is no comfort anymore. Just a really bad, overwhelming, tingly, uncomfortable feeling and also guilt. I want to shake my hand so desperately to try to get the paint off, but that'll cause it to fly everywhere in her room. I can't help but clench my teeth and close my eyes in discomfort. I did end up making a mess. She's not going to be happy. This was a bad idea. I don't know what to do. I just want this to stop.
Hallie?
I look over to her out of desperation and barely manage to speak up. Help, please. Once Yuri seems to realize what's going on, she gets up from her spot, grabs her bag, and pulls out a few tissues. She rushes over to me, takes my paint-covered hands in hers with the tissues, brings me up from the ground with my compliance, and takes me somewhat by force to her bathroom. Once inside, she doesn't even bother closing the door. Instead, she turns on the faucet, which is set to hot water, removes the napkins from my hands, and brings it under the water. Weren't they tissues? Watching the paint being washed away and the feeling of hot water is a little satisfying. It makes me feel a little more at ease. But Yuri takes both of her hands and begins gently scrubbing mine, trying to get all the paint off. She even goes as far as to apply soap to mine and hers. Her sudden actions have taken me by shock. This feels different. This feels just like when her hand was in mine 2 days ago, but this feels more pleasant. A helping hands, I dare say. She looks over to me with a reassuring smile, at least I think it is, and gives me a towel to dry off. While my hand may be feeling better and the bad tingling sensations have mostly gone away, I still feel guilty about getting paint on her floor.
There we go. Are you feeling any better now?
I can't bring myself to answer that. All that's on my mind is the mess I made and also continuously scrubbing my already dry hands. I look towards the ground out of inferiority. I'm sorry about all this. I didn't mean to make your room a mess. Her smile is replaced with a concerned look as she places one hand on my shoulder and looks at me.
Hallie, please try not to worry about that. I'm not upset at all. We can clean it up together, if that would make you feel better.
Well, the thought of that does make me feel a bit better, knowing I am to be doing my part to atone for my mishap. Okay, I would like that. Her smile makes a return.
Then it's settled. Let's take care of this.
Towel in both mine and her hand, we make our way back to her bedroom. After our attempts to clean up the paint on her floor, we each resume our respective painting. Cleaning up wasn't so bad. I feel really lucky that her floor wasn't stained as a result. I would have felt really bad had that happened. Only after drawing 2 diagonal lines on the banner, I can't help but look over to see what Yuri's painting. The Literature Club. Isn't that kind of basic? I hope she has something else in mind. Oh well. After deciding to get back to work, it doesn't take long for something else to come to mind yet again. Hey! Thanks for your help earlier. I'm feeling better, by the way. She looks over to me and smiles for I've lost track of how many times today.
It's no problem. Besides, you said it best. It feels nice to help a friend out, so it only feels right. Felt right.
I can't help but smile at how cute she's being. Oh, you. There's an accomplishing feeling to it that I really enjoy. It makes me feel important.
I can say the same. A certain someone told me recently to trust my instincts on whether something feels right or wrong. So I guess that played hand in hand with a little bit ago.
That can't be a coincidence that she said that. Also, how we're both able to work and talk at the same time is beyond me. Well, I don't know what I would have done without you. How funny would it have been if it was super glue instead, and I was stuck there forever or something? I can't help but laugh to myself over my own stupid humor, but Yuri isn't laughing. She's giving me that weird look from when I was holding her knife earlier, but it goes away after a while.
You're so weird, Hallie.
I confidently nod at her. That's me! She giggles once again, and we both resume putting the finishing touches on the banner. Ah, that ought to do it. I say that as I finish drawing the last star that I deem necessary. Yuri, on the other hand, looks to be almost done. While I'm waiting for her to finish up, I take a step back to look at the banner as a whole, and I gotta admit, tea staining the paper was a pretty good idea. It almost looks like one of those stereotypical treasure maps that are shown in pirate movies.
Finished.
Good. Now I can see the rest of what she wrote. A place to read, a place to write, a place to belong. Not bad. That turned out pretty well.
I concur.
Should we take care of it now? I start leaning towards the banner out of instinct.
No, don't!
Her sudden change in tone somehow manages to stop me in my tracks.
The paint needs to dry first before anything. We should leave the banner here overnight.
I then take a step away from our banner as if not to disturb it. Fair enough. Does that mean you'll be bringing it into school tomorrow?
It only makes sense if I do. What about your door curtain?
Oh yeah, those. Looking down to see my project from earlier still on the ground, I'm surprised that I didn't step on and ruin anything. I can put that in my backpack and bring it with me tomorrow.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure
I could fit those in my bag if we needed to.
I mean, we very well could, but I want to do my part to help out. I insist. Please let me bring them to school tomorrow.
Well, suit yourself.
It looks like we're all finished and there's nothing more for us to do. What do we do now?
Come on, I'll walk you outside.
Back in her living room, after getting all of my stuff together, she stops just short of her front door.
Oh, Hallie, that reminds me. Would you like to stay for dinner tonight?
Oh man, that sounds like a great idea. If it's anything like what she brings into school, then it'll be great. Now that I think about it, I still haven't wrote anything for tomorrow. That seems a little more important. I'm sorry. As much as I'd like to, I don't think I'll be able to. I still haven't wrote for tomorrow. Written is the word. She now looks just as disappointed as I am.
Oh, that's a shame. But you're right, though. I haven't written for tomorrow.
There, she said it right. Yikes. I'm certain there'll be a day where we can.
I suppose.
She opens her front door.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Right. Tomorrow. Wait, this isn't according to plan. I'm stuck in place at remembering what I ultimately wanted to accomplish today. Man, I can't believe I'm going through with this. I turn around instead of facing her.
What is it?
I think I can feel my heart beating a little faster. Could you please walk home with me? It's really important. She stands there for a bit, lost in thought for Lord knows how long.
Is it really that important?
All I can do is nod at her. My emotions slowly starting to go rampage leaves me unable to speak.
Well, I suppose I can spend a little more time with you today. I'll trust your judgment.
I can't tell whether she's teasing me or not, but that's not what matters right now. They might be allowed to spend a little more time with each other, but I'm out of time for this episode. But I don't know. How long is it going to take them to walk home? Yeah, you know what? We'll go just a little bit longer and see. I step outside her house with her following me.
Lead the way, please.
Nodding once again as my feelings are consistently inconsistent, we begin the journey to my house. Actually, you know what? No, on a hunch, I'm going to call it here for now and we'll pick up next time with more Our Castle Walls. Because scenes in this mod seem to be fairly long. So yeah, that seems like as good a spot as any to call it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll catch you next time with more Our Castle Walls. Hope to see you then.